Will coffee stop you from healing? This is probably one of the questions I hear the most. And I honestly don't think coffee is all that bad. In fact, could it be a superfood? Let me walk you through all of the nuance, because a black and white question very rarely has a black and white answer. So let me give you all of the facts and information that you need to chew on to make this decision for yourself. Hi, my name is William and welcome to today's video. So, I'm married to a Portuguese lady. She loves her coffee. And if we've got any Italians watching, or maybe even some French, I know we all love our coffee. And now with places like Starbucks, coffee really has just spread across the whole world. And I know people that could not function without their coffee. But to me, that's a bit of a red flag. So let's get into the pros and cons and see if coffee is doing more harm than good. So the biggest things you want to be watching out for, the most significant negatives with regards to coffee. We've got antinutrients, we've got mold and mycotoxins, we've got adrenal stress, and we've got irritation to the digestive system. These are the four biggest drawbacks, and these are genuinely valid concerns. So with regards to the antinutrients, I wouldn't be too worried about it. The thing about coffee is, even though it is a bean, it's a reproductive part of a plant. It's all fermented, and in the fermentation process, many of these antinutrients are broken down. So for me personally, I wouldn't really be worried about this. But the fact that coffee is fermented brings up the next problem. Many coffees have been studied and have fairly high levels of molds and mycotoxins. And if you're somebody that has mold illness, the last thing you probably want to be doing is throwing some more mold and mycotoxins into your system. So I would say on this point, the type of coffee you're drinking matters. I don't know if I 100% believe the claims of people like Dave Asprey and his bulletproof coffee as to whether they are completely mold free. But what I do know is that the quality does make the difference. So generally speaking, higher quality brands are more likely to give you lower quantities of mold and mycotoxins in your coffee. And if it is something you're really concerned for, you can go on Amazon and look for low mold or mold-free coffees and completely rule that out. Now, maybe the biggest problem that I see is the influence that caffeine and stimulants can have on the stress hormone system. So, for example, people that are dealing with adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, people that constantly don't have enough energy, and they have to use the coffee to get by, almost like they can't function without it. This is where coffee can really be a problem. As a general rule of thumb, I would say if you can enjoy coffee and then miss it for a couple of days and you feel completely fine, then you have a glass and you feel great, coffee's probably okay for you. If you're someone that has 4 or 5 glasses of coffee in a row, so you have a cup of coffee every single day for a week, and then you miss it, if on that day you cannot function as a person, you are probably somebody that shouldn't be consuming caffeine or coffee right now. The thought process behind this is that caffeine and other stimulants cause your adrenal glands to release more stress hormones than they're actually comfortable releasing. I like to think about the adrenals and adrenal fatigue kind of like getting a sponge and dipping it in water. The sponges are adrenal glands, and dipping it in the water is the stress hormones. Every time we go to bed, when we sleep at night, it's like we're taking our sponge and we're dipping it in this golden liquid of stress hormones. They're called stress hormones, but it's not necessarily about stress. Stress hormones are really important. Cortisol in the morning is what gives you energy. It's what makes you wake up and feel like you're enthusiastic and happy and excited to get on with the day. Now, I know there's very few people that actually feel like that. It's maybe like 1 in 50 people that I talk to that say, I get up out of bed in the morning and I have energy and I feel good and I'm excited to get on with it. And for those other 49 people, I would say you're probably dealing with some level of adrenal fatigue. Because if your cortisol is not peaking first thing in the morning, you can't feel enthusiastic and you can't have energy. And the thing that causes this problem for the most people is coffee. And it's not that coffee's bad, you might not be using it in the most responsible way. So what's supposed to happen is we wake up and we take this sponge filled with this golden valuable liquid, and we give it a gentle squeeze. And all of these hormones, all these stress hormones, cortisol that drip out, they give us energy, sustained energy throughout the day. We can also buffer our stress hormones by eating a good breakfast, having good stress management practices, making sure that we slept really well the night before, keeping our biochemistry and our blood sugars in a good way. All of these small little self-care details make a little bit of cortisol go a really long way. And then you have people on the other end of the spectrum where they'll wake up, eat no food, have a nice coffee, whether this is a shot of espresso or going to Starbucks and having a latte or something, and then doing a fasted workout. And this is causing, instead of this gentle squeeze to our adrenal glands, it's like we are pillaging it, we're raping it, we're taking every single last drop of stress hormones that we can possibly get, and we're just dumping them all. This is absolutely not what our adrenal glands like. This is not how they like to be used. And if we do this every once in a while, it'll be okay. But when we're doing this every single day in, day out, your body just doesn't know how to function without coffee. On the one day where you don't have this massive stressful stimulus, the body says, oh, we're going to save this cortisol. You're not having any energy today because we need to replenish ourselves. We need to restore ourselves. And therefore you feel crappy, you have headaches, you have withdrawals, you have no energy. You're moody and irritable. This is because of your stress hormones and they're being completely out of balance. So if this is you, you probably need to stop drinking coffee. Not forever, but for long enough that you allow your stress hormones to reset. And then when you do start to have coffee again, you need to change your relationship with it. You have to stop raping your adrenal glands. You just have to. There is no way that you could be healthy in the long run if you are constantly taking and taking and taking and pillaging. We need to build the energy reserves up in the adrenal glands so that the energy comes flooding out naturally. The adrenals want to give us energy instead of just forcefully taking it over and over again. So if we can avoid this, we can have low mold coffee. We don't have to worry about the antinutrients so much because it's a fermented product and we're using it wisely. You'd actually be quite foolish to not include coffee because coffee has significant health benefits. First of all, the polyphenols that are present in coffee are phenomenal. They have a significant influence on the antioxidant status in the body. There is a healing modality known as a coffee enema, which is where we're literally administering coffee rectally for an enhanced effect of these polyphenols and antioxidants. But even consuming coffee orally has a therapeutic effect. It's maybe 1/10 or 1/5 as effective as doing a coffee enema, but it's still a benefit. And it also saves you from having to put coffee in your butt, which I don't know about you, I would prefer to avoid if I can. Also, these polyphenols have a significant influence on the microbiome. Some of the microbes in our gut don't really like to eat prebiotics, they prefer to eat polyphenols. Polyphenols being the substances in foods that give them the color, the flavor, the aroma. And if you think about coffee, it has this very dark, rich color, and the aroma is so unique. And even if you don't like the taste of coffee, it's very rare that I meet someone that doesn't enjoy the smell. Coffee just smells phenomenal. And this is because of certain polyphenols in coffee. So these polyphenols have an incredibly powerful effect on the microbiome. And they're really good at boosting the organisms that are especially influenced by the polyphenolic content of the diet. This includes Akkermansia and Faecalibacteria prausnitzii. And these are two really important players in strong digestive health. And going a step further with these polyphenols, when they absorb and they come into the body, they are extremely detoxifying. Coffee in many ways works like a digestive bitter. It stimulates the liver and gallbladder to contract and to release bile. And this is a really important part of the detoxification process. Combined with the antioxidant effects of the polyphenolic compounds, you've got a really cleansing and detoxifying superfood at your fingertips here. The only other thing you might need to be careful with coffee is if you're finding that it's upsetting your digestive system. It's very well known that coffee can be irritating to a sensitive stomach, especially if you're dealing with gastritis or reflux or any of these upper digestive problems. I would say if you are consuming these things and they give you an obvious negative consequence, maybe right now is not the right time. But if you work on improving your digestive health and healing your gut, it is completely possible to be able to enjoy coffee again and not feel these negatives. I personally was extremely sensitive. I found caffeine to be an enormous stimulant that my nervous system could not handle. It irritated my digestive system and it was an absolute no. Whereas now, I can quite easily have 2 cups of coffee in a day, if that's what my body's asking me for. And I feel fine, I feel great. And I'm nothing special. If I can do it, you can do it. We just have to work with the body. We have to do what the body is asking for and take care of it, create the environment that it needs so that it can fix itself. And if you feel like you need a little bit of extra help creating that environment so that your body can do all the heavy lifting and bring you towards a symptom-free life where you feel good and you can just get on with living again instead of constantly worrying about these little things. Can I have coffee? Can I not? What about this food? What about that? If you want to get back to just living your life again and you feel like you just can't quite figure it out by yourself, I'll be more than happy to give you a helping hand. Please just reach out to me. Either leave me a comment or shoot me an email, support@williamdickinson.co.uk, and I'll get back to you and help you however I can. And we can even look at arranging a consultation if you feel like you need that kind of support. So I hope that helps you decide if coffee is going to stop you from healing. And maybe you're leaving the video now thinking, actually, maybe coffee is exactly what I need to heal. And you might be right. Either way, I hope you've got your answer. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.